This video is a summary of a chat I had with the owner of Tainaj, Daniel Fischer, and myself in Zurich in March 2025. So when did you buy the boat?
So I bought it in 2020, right before COVID. There had been one in our harbor as a kid, a green boat, same build as mine with the wooden coach house, named Aquila. And I always admired that boat. I moved away to Texas. I did a lot of sailing here, there, and everywhere. And when I came back up to the Northeast, I started seeing, after a few years, another boat identical to that appeared, and it was owned by somebody I knew from growing up, a very experienced yachtsman. And I admired the boat to the point that I actually called him at one point. There was another one named Elixir. I don't know if you're familiar with, a yawl that was for sale. It was on the market, very hard used. It had actually been modified for the Bermuda race. They had added lead to lengthen the waterline to qualify for the Bermuda race. And Elixir had been rode hard and put up wet, as we say. And I actually called Bill Gunther, the owner of the boat I now own, and asked for his advice about the boat, and I had a lot of questions. About 6 months later, his lawyer, who I know very well, emailed me and said, "Bill's thinking of selling the boat." I immediately called him up. I said, "I'll buy it. We'll talk about the price later. I want the boat." And because I knew he had done a lot of work on it, and it had a very long history, as you know, with the Ross family. Had won a lot of silver in New England. And in fact, the name Tainaj in eastern Long Island Sound is not very well liked, because the rating has always been very good on that boat. It is a winner of a boat. And of course, everybody always argues about ratings, but I never complain about the rating on Tainaj. So we met. He had his eyes on a bigger catch that he wanted for longer distance ocean sailing, and arrived at a good price, a generous price, but a lot less than anybody had put in the boat. And so I bought it. We had COVID that restricted the racing season, and then I've owned it ever since, and kind of redone the sail inventory, as we discussed. It had a brief life under an asymmetrical spinnaker rig with a big bowsprit that we called the Appliance. And it just was not a successful rig. So I've gone back to conventional spinnaker and put a lot of new sails on it. And I just love the boat. I think it really came into its own, the sort of the genius of both the build quality and the design, in the middle of the night last year on a race we do from Old Saybrook to Martha's Vineyard. It's about a 140-mile offshore race. The wind kept picking up. It was blowing steady 22 to 24 knots, driving upwind into heavy seas. I was under my heavy #1 jib. I didn't want to wake my crew up to do a sail change. And so just drove that boat, and it was magnificent. I mean, it's so solid. It doesn't flex in any way. Handled the waves beautifully. I had too much sail up, didn't matter. And that's where I was like, okay, I get it. I get the Ohlson design. It really just is, it's a masterpiece.
Yeah, I share your experience, particularly in heavy winds and when you don't want to reef, or when you continue with it, because hopefully you see it's coming, you expect it to come down again.
Exactly. Yeah.
We've had that experience particularly. She handles very well. She's good for her crew. She's good towards her crew.
Yeah, the hull's super stiff. I do feel that the wooden deck, which was the main, there were two sticking points when I negotiated to buy the boat. One, the wood deck, because I've dealt with boats with balsa decks, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I want that. And the other was the bright work, which is gorgeous, the varnish work on the boat. And The former owner taught me how to do it. I spend about 30 to 40 hours in the winter in the shed doing it. That's just the cost of ownership. But I do feel that the deck gives a little in a good way. I think wood is a remarkable material, and because the winches are bolted into the wooden deck, it almost feels like there's a little give there, but the hull itself doesn't flex at all.
No.
And I'm no naval architect. I feel like maybe that combination of wood and fiberglass is good.
I know they had, at least that's what the guys who built my boat told me, that the hull supplied with a flange on the upper edge.
Yeah.
And it obviously during manufacturing it hadn't been easy to keep the flange perpendicular over the whole length of the boat. So the flange came down a little bit, and they had problems to put the deck beams onto the somehow twisted flange. And they were complaining that they had to use a lot of putty to get it right, etc. But that's about the only area where there was a bit of complaint about the hull. And usually if the mine is from 72, so yours is 67, yours one of the early boats where the flange coming down didn't happen. It only happens when the
I think it's perfectly 90 degrees.
Yeah, and mine
everything's
isn't.
bolted.
Yeah, mine isn't. It's you see it. You can see it together. You can see it already, or you can see it still. But beyond that, that can be rectified when you build her. And I think the plywood is plywood deck, which is then sitting on the deck beams, is extremely well done, and intolerant to rot. So I don't expect anything to happen. When we took the teak deck off after nearly 40 years, there was nothing. We just pulled it off, put a new one on.
That's one person on earth that's happened to. Usually you pull that teak off and it's a nightmare.
Yeah, I was afraid of that. Just took it off, put it on again.
Wow.
Cleaned it up. No, nothing. No water. No ingress. That was really been done very well. So
I think mine was shipped with a teak deck.
Okay.
I think the deck that's on it now is actually the Ross family redid that. I think at some point, maybe 20 years ago.
They painted it. It's a painted deck.
I think they lifted all the plywood and redid it. But it's fiberglass on top of marine plywood. But the surveyor hit it with the water meter. We found a little bit around one deck fitting, but everything else is bone dry.
Because when we redid the teak, okay, for its beauty, of course, we were compelled to do it and convinced to do it. But in hindsight, would I do this again? I probably would go and just put another layer of ply on there, some epoxy beneath. I had that on a folk boat before. I had a plywood deck, entirely tight, no rot, no nothing. It was just paint and sanded.
Yeah, that's what I have.
Good grip, and for the weight, it's much better. You save whatever 150 kilos compared to the teak, and it looks good.
But the teak looks so good.
It looks so good, but it's so. And today you can't get teak wood anyway anymore. So yeah, okay. In hindsight, we've taken the decision. We've done it in teak, but there are good arguments not to go for teak and do plywood and paint it and sand it perfectly. The exciting thing on the 38 really is how sensible she is for when you sail her. The experience I had when I started to sail an Ohlson 5.5, and I sailed that for the first time, I said, well, this is like the 38.
That's interesting. I've always wondered, because I tell people it's sort of a Ferrari of a boat. I mean, it's a competition boat with a beautiful.
How do you call it? A Ferrari.
A Ferrari, yeah.
On steroids.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's got beautiful lines. An Italian could have designed the coach house. I mean, it's very sporty looking, but it's got a competition pedigree, and it's just, they sail beautifully through the water. It's just a wonderful.
I had this experience when I bought an autopilot for the first time. I bought one of these tiller pilots,
and I connected it, and it was useless. The boat would not follow what the pilot was doing. She would just do what she liked. And even when you were running her under engine, she wouldn't go straight. Particularly, she would only go straight if you were running fast. But I could not. I sent in the autopilot to Navico and had it checked, and they said it's entirely fine. There's nothing wrong with it. And the guess was that this boat is so sensitively balanced, even with the rudder on the skeg. When you walk across, let's say, the starboard side, go forward, she will immediately heel a little bit, and this will immediately make her turn.
And the computer can't keep up.
And this kind of tiller pilot can't keep up. The real autopilot can.
I have a very good autopilot. It was the best investment for family, cruising with my wife.
Yeah, so did we. I think we were even communicating at the time.
Yeah.
But that's just an indication. 2 degrees more heel, and she will start moving in that direction immediately.
Yeah.
And so she's a very sensitive boat.
And of course, my boat was murdered by the addition of a wheel, which I actually like the wheel because sailing upwind in anything but the heaviest air, I sail on the leeward side. And if I even look out of the boat, my crew yells at me. I'm only looking at the telltales and the waves. And I rely on the crew to tell me what's happening on the race course. And it just, I get into a groove of just driving the boat and trying to get another tenth of a knot, and you get one with the helm. And the tiller would be kind of difficult because you'd be pushing up against it the entire time.
Yeah, you can't sail, if it's windy, you can't sail from the leeward side with the tiller. We have these pretty large or heavy bases for the winches, and in the past we had 2 cleats between the winches, so sitting on the cleats wasn't that comfortable. But when we moved to self-tailors, we took away the cleats, and now you sit in between the winches, and they're here and there, and you can bend backwards against the railing. And you can really sail over with the extension of the tiller.
Well, this reminds me, I have to tell a story. So Peter Ross Sr., who owned the boat for 30, 40 years, named the boat Tonnage. After I bought the boat, word on the street was Peter Ross Sr. wanted to talk to the new owner of his boat. So I called him. He was in his late 90s, retired, I think a dental surgeon down in Florida. And I called him, and one of the first things he said is, "I hear Bill put a wheel in the boat." And I said, "Yeah, I love it. I definitely like steering with a wheel." He goes, "No, it's all wrong. It's going to screw up the weight distribution," which is true because that boat is very sensitive to weight fore and aft. And if you have one person behind a wheel in the cockpit, everybody else has to get out of the cockpit. You just can't have weight back there. And
so we never sit there.
Well, yeah, exactly.
You do. No, but the weight distribution is something which is important, and we've done. I'm very much with you because we've done the terrible sin of fitting an anchor on the stern and
in the lazarette, yeah.
And it's great for cruising, but it's not a good idea because she will start. What do you call it in English? She will start nicking into the swell.
Yeah, hobby horsing.
Hobby horsing, exactly. And I knew it wouldn't be a good idea, but we wanted it because it's for cruising. It's much nicer, and particularly over here, the Baltic is a very choppy stretch of water because when you go to the Kattegat, so the front of the Swedish coast, it's not deep there. It's 20-30 meters deep. So as soon as you have a force 5, you have 2 meters of swell, which is not particularly big, but it's very short. And then with this kind of with the anchor on the nose and all the weight of the nose and the chain, and it's not helping. So
mine is in the is in the hanging locker down below, and that's not good if you all of a sudden need the anchor in an emergency. Like
No,
you
it's
gotta
very
run
com-
downstairs and get
Right,
it.
it's very comfy. You just it's an electric windlass. You just
Yeah.
shove it on and then off goes the anchor. But it has lots of merits. But for this boat in particular, on the weight distribution, not a good idea. Absolutely not a good idea. So I believe the story if you're sitting behind the wheel, it's not a good idea.
You're about
either.
3 feet back from where you should be.
And that doesn't help at all. It doesn't help at all.
The other story I heard is I was at I think it was Storm Trysail meeting, and someone else was familiar with the boat, and I said I was getting new sails, and he said, Tonnage has always had new sails. And that tells you something about a boat, that people are continuously investing in new sails, because it's still a racing boat, And believe me, I'm investing. My latest is I experimented with the roller furling heavy #1 because I get a credit. My rating even gets better if I have roller furling gear. But it has to be. But you can't cheat. You have to have the little spindle at the top, so you can't do a peel, jib to jib
No.
with the 2 tracks. You have to take everything down, but that's okay. So I just replaced all of my roller furling gear. I have this French drum that is with a tape. I don't know if you've seen these.
Yeah, I have.
And it's only about that high.
Fucknor.
Yeah.
I have a Fucknor.
Yeah, so I just got that. So I'm picking up the roller furling credit with my new light #1, but I'm giving up almost no sail area. So it's perfect.
That was the reason why I went to the Fucknor as well last year. I turned 70. My wife said, "You're gonna have a furling head sail when you get 70." So we bought a
It's
Fucknor.
my crew telling me that, but
But I wasn't. I'm pleased with it. It works so fine. But it looks as if you lose if you don't lose that much weight. But it's the way it's constructed. It has the drum beneath the wide wheel with the strap, and so you still lose some centimeters. But for us, we had a Genoa 2 which was cut according to the initial sail plan, where they shortened the luff of the head sails. The 3 had the full luff, and the 2 had a little bit less. The 1 had the full luff. The 2 had a little bit less, and we took this little bit less. So we are now more or less filling the triangle better than we did before. But it's a very very nice technology. It runs very well. It's great piece of equipment.
so I think my rating's going to get better.
I talked to Jim Payne. He has an Ohlson as well, but he has the 37, the only 37 ever built.
Is it glass?
No, it's wood. It's the last wooden Ohlson that came to the US in '67. So pretty much the same year as. And there are pictures. We have pictures where she's lifted off the ocean freighter in Boston or somewhere, and the boat is described as the Dan Blue boat because she's so fast as well.
Yeah, that's
the Dan Blue boat. And Jim Payne has that boat. She's now not. She's in blue anymore. I think she's white, grayish, light gray.
Well, there's a fraternity of Ohlson, because do you know Frank Boland? Frank is sort of the dean of Bermuda Race Navigators. He's a retired University of Connecticut oceanographer. I call him the current whisperer. I had the luck of racing with him. The guy I bought Tonnage from Frank's always been his navigator. And Frank is now in his he might be 86. He's the youngest 86-year-old you'll ever meet. And Frank has a yawl, 38 yawl. And he loves that boat. And Frank's been one of the great ocean navigators. And he has an Ohlson 38, so that tells you something.
Okay.
He keeps it in Fisher's Island.
Yeah, over time I had a lot of boat owners contacting me, but I haven't really kind of been very careful in maintaining it. a track record of the individual boats. So I have probably boats on my list. I have more than 70 boats on my list, but some may be in as duplicates, so I may have them under different names and same boat.